dumping is the action of putting and sharing trauma on social media. So a lot of what I try and do is share the lessons after the fact, not while I'm in a traumatic moment. And there is a distinct difference. Now, I'm not going to say to anyone that they shouldn't be trauma dumping on the internet. I think there are enough articles out there that talk about this already. And I do think that a lot of it is to do with the evolution of how we deal, how we start to express ourselves, and how we start to learn how to have these kinds of conversations. One of the things that I will say is focusing on the things you can control in your environment rather than trying to tell someone else what to do on the internet. So, first off is making sure you're in a good mental state before you're venturing into news headlines, into social media feeds, because you don't control what is going on your feed. I think making sure that we're all in a good headspace before we're jumping online is not necessarily a bad idea. I also think that understanding that somebody is trying to find a safe space of expression online, and they might be getting a lot of validation out of that. So is it necessarily wrong? Look, it's not great for those of us who have trauma. It certainly can be triggering. Yesterday I saw a news headline that was shared by somebody else, and essentially we're led into outrage fatigue by headlines, and understanding that. Like, I've turned off all of my newsfeed headlines because I'm mindful of how much that it impacts my mental health when I'm seeing a lot of the news that goes on. I stopped watching the news. Like, I know I'm part of the media, but I actually stopped watching the news when I was about 15. And a lot of that was around protecting my own mental health and my own sense of well-being, because I know I will get quite overwhelmed in feeling like I'm not doing enough. I am definitely doing enough in my community, in my world, in my life. But somehow the news headlines take a hold of me and make me feel like I'm not doing enough. And so I have to manage those external factors a lot. Things like turning off my email notifications and all of my app notifications. I've done that for over a decade now. Again, I don't let technology control me. It's very much around when I'm deciding to engage with those pieces. And even to a point, like, I know I can tell when my anxiety or when my stress or when my depression or mental health starts to kick in, is I start to hyperfixate on like little mobile phone video games, and that's usually an indicator that I'm not doing okay. It's an early warning sign for me. And I'm getting better at identifying those early warning signs sooner, so that I can go and check in with my therapist, go and check in with my support crew, and those things become really important. So while we can't control what everybody else puts out there on the internet, we can certainly contribute to a better feed and a better news feed on our social media, and things that can contribute in helping that is making sure that we're okay and we're centered before we engage. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate everybody that's following this, everybody that's sending me comments and messages. I really love them, truly. It is giving me, I think, a lot of direction in where these conversations are heading. And whilst I didn't really go in with a huge plan around this channel, it was very much geared around reducing stigma, certainly for people who are in leadership, who I am finding can't talk to anyone because they're isolated in their business. You certainly often can't talk to your own team because you're supposed to be the leader, you're the one that's supposed to have your shit together. Thankfully, I'm surrounded by an amazing team, and it's at our core function of our business. Talking about mental health is really at the forefront of where we're at, and so it's very normalized for me to be able to talk about my own mental health, which has inadvertently given me the opportunity to have a conversation about mental health with you guys. So thank you so much for following me again. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already done that. Please leave a comment or reach out and connect. Thanks so much.